It was almost sunset when the argument exploded in the car. The sky outside was soft and orange, but inside the car, the air felt heavy and sharp. She sat on the passenger seat, hands tight on her bag, trying hard not to cry. Her name was Lena, and she had learned over the years to speak softly, to walk carefully, and to swallow her own anger. But that day, something inside her refused to stay quiet. "You promised you'd help with the bills," she said, her voice shaking. "I can't keep doing everything alone. I'm tired." Her husband, Rashid, kept his eyes on the road. His jaw was tight. "Oh, so now I'm the problem?" he snapped. "If you're so tired of me, do whatever you want." Lena stared at him. She had heard this tone before many times. "It always meant trouble was coming. I just want us to be a team," she whispered. "We used to be a team." Rashid laughed, but there was no humor in it. "A team? All you do is complain. You think you'd survive a day without me?" The car slowed down. Lena looked out the window and saw they were nowhere near home. It was a quiet road near the bus station, not very crowded, a place where people waited to go somewhere else. "Anywhere else? Where are we going?" she asked. He didn't answer. He stopped the car near the bus stop and leaned over her, unlocking the door. "Get out," he said flatly. Lena blinked. She thought she heard him wrong. "What?" I said, "Get out." "You want to be free? Fine. Get out and do whatever you want." Her heart dropped. "Rashid, stop it. This isn't funny." He reached over, opened the door wider, and put her small handbag on her lap. The movement was cold and final. "Get out," he repeated. "I'm done listening to your drama." People at the bus stop turned their heads for a moment, then quickly looked away. No one wanted to be part of another couple's fight. Lena stepped out of the car, still hoping he would change his mind at the last second. She stood there on the sidewalk, hugging her bag. "Please," she said softly, "don't leave me here. I don't have any money on me." "I thought we were just going to the store." Rashid looked right into her eyes and said the words that would echo in her head for a long time. "Do whatever you want." Then he closed the door and drove away. The sound of the engine faded down the road, leaving only the soft noise of traffic and the beating of Lena's heart in her ears. She felt like the ground had disappeared under her feet. For a moment, she just stood there, frozen, the wind tugging at her hair. She looked down at her small handbag and opened it quickly. There was no wallet, no cash. Just a few old receipts, a lip balm, and her phone with a low battery. She checked her phone's screen, 3% left. No missed calls, no messages. She could call someone, but who? Her family lived far away. Friends had slowly disappeared over the years, as Rashid became more controlling and jealous. She had never noticed how alone she had become until that exact moment. Lena sat down on the bench at the bus stop, her eyes stinging with tears. She tried to breathe slowly, but her chest felt tight. How did my life become like this? She thought. When did I stop being me? Cars passed by, some fast, some slow. A few people glanced at her, saw the tears on her face, and quickly looked away. It was easier to pretend not to see. Time moved strangely. A few minutes felt like an hour. The sky grew darker and the air became cooler. The streetlights blinked on one by one, throwing long shadows on the ground. Just when Lena thought she might break down completely, she heard a soft voice beside her. "Are you all right, dear?" Lena looked up and saw an older woman standing a little to her right. She wore a simple but elegant coat and held a walking stick. Her hair was gray and tied back neatly. Her face had many lines, but her eyes were sharp and kind. "I'm fine," Lena said quickly, wiping her eyes. "I'm okay." The older woman did not walk away. She slowly sat down beside Lena with some effort, leaning her stick against the bench. "I may be old," the woman said, "but I am not blind to tears." Lena tried to give a small smile. "I'm just having a bad day." The woman tilted her head. Bad days usually do not leave someone at a bus stop with no smile and no bag of groceries. The words hit Lena harder than she expected. Her eyes filled again, and this time she was too tired to hide it. A tear rolled down her cheek. "My husband left me here," she whispered. "We had a fight in the car. He told me to get out and said, 'Do whatever you want.' Then he drove off." The woman listened quietly, her face calm but serious. Do you have any money? She asked. Lena shook her head. No, I thought we were just going out for a bit. My wallet is at home. I don't even know how to get back. The woman looked at the road for a moment, thinking. Cars kept passing, but it felt like the world had become smaller, just the two of them on that bench. Sometimes, the woman said slowly, life throws us out of the car so we can see who will stop for us. Lena frowned a little, confused. What do you mean? The woman turned her head and gave Lena a gentle, almost secretive smile. Maybe today is not the day you were abandoned, she said softly. Maybe today is the day your life begins to change. Lena didn't understand how that could be true. To her, everything felt broken. She felt weak, embarrassed, and lost, yet something in the woman's voice, something calm and steady, touched her. It was the first time that day she felt even a small piece of safety. The woman slowly reached into her coat pocket, as if she already knew what she was going to do next. Tell me your name, dear, she said. And don't be afraid. You and I, we are going to leave this bus stop together. Lena looked at her, surprised. She had no idea who this stranger really was, or how much this woman was about to change everything. And as the night settled around them, a quiet, powerful story was just beginning. Lena stared at the older woman, still not sure if she should trust her. My name is Lena, she finally said, her voice quiet. The woman smiled. Lena, she repeated softly, like she was testing how the name felt. I'm Aisha, Lena gave a small nod. Nice to meet you, she said, though the situation felt strange. People did not usually introduce themselves at bus stops while one of them was crying. Aisha's eyes were gentle but sharp, as if they could see through everything Lena tried to hide. How long were you sitting here alone? Aisha asked. I don't know, Lena replied honestly. Maybe an hour? Maybe more. I lost track of time. Has your husband ever done this before? Aisha's tone was calm, not accusing, just searching. Lena swallowed. Part of her wanted to defend him, say it was just a bad day. Another part of her felt too tired to lie. He's left me before, she admitted, but not like this. He usually comes back after cooling down. This time, she looked at the road where the car had disappeared earlier. This time felt different. Aisha nodded slowly. Sometimes people show us who they truly are in one single moment, she said. That moment hurts, but it is also very clear. Lena felt a quiet ache in her chest. She stared at her hands and noticed they were trembling a little. I don't know what to do, Lena whispered. I don't have money. I can't walk home. It's too far. My phone is almost dead. I feel stupid for getting in the car without my wallet. I trusted him. Aisha did not rush to speak. She let the silence sit between them for a moment, like a soft blanket instead of a heavy stone. You are not stupid, she said at last. You are trusting. There is a difference. Lena looked at her, surprised by the kindness in her words. Aisha took a slow breath, then leaned a little closer. Listen to me, Lena. I won't leave you here. That is the first thing you need to know. Something warm spread through Lena's chest, mixed with fear. Why? She asked quietly. You don't even know me. A small smile touched Aisha's lips. I know enough, she said. I know you were brave enough to speak up. I know you were hurt by someone who should protect you. And I know that if I walk away now, I will think about your face all night and regret it. Lena's eyes burned again. She felt embarrassed for crying so much in front of a stranger, but she couldn't stop. Aisha gently reached into her coat and pulled out a clean tissue. Here, she said. Thank you, Lena whispered, taking it. Aisha looked around for a moment, then down at her watch. It's getting late, she said. The buses around here are slow at this hour, and I don't like the idea of you waiting in the dark, Lena nodded. The shadows were already growing longer. The street lights did their best, but the corners still looked cold and unfriendly. Come with me, Aisha said softly. Lena blinked. Come with you? Where? To get something warm to drink first, Aisha replied. There is a small cafe around the corner. We can sit, you can charge your phone, and we will think. Lena hesitated. Her parents always told her to be careful with strangers. But this woman did not feel dangerous. She felt steady. Still, Lena asked the question that sat in her chest like a stone. Why are you helping me? Aisha gave a sad little smile. Because once, a long time ago, I sat alone on a bench and no one helped me, she said simply. I promised myself that if I ever saw another woman sitting like that, I would not walk past her. The wind blew softly, lifting a few strands of Lena's hair. She heard the honesty in Aisha's voice. There was pain there too, something deep and old. Okay, Lena said finally. I'll come. Aisha pushed herself up with her walking stick. Lena quickly stood and offered her arm without thinking. Aisha took it with a grateful nod. You have good manners, Aisha said. That is worth more than you think. They walked slowly together down the sidewalk. Lena noticed that Aisha moved carefully, with small steps, but her grip on Lena's arm was firm. It felt like holding on to both someone fragile and someone strong at the same time. Around the corner there was indeed a small cafe with warm lights and a glass front. The sign above the door was old, but the inside looked cozy. A few people sat at tables talking quietly. As they entered, the soft smell of coffee and baked bread wrapped around them. Lena felt a little less cold inside. They found a table near the wall. Aisha sat down with a sigh of relief, resting her stick beside her chair. Lena placed her bag on the seat next to her and looked around nervously. A waiter came over with a small notepad. Good evening, he said politely. What can I get for you? Aisha smiled warmly at him. 2 hot chocolates, please, she said. And something sweet. Surprise us. The waiter nodded and walked away. Lena bit her lip. I can't pay, she whispered. I don't have... Aisha raised her hand gently. Did I ask you to pay? She said in a soft but firm tone. Tonight, you are my guest. Lena lowered her eyes. I'm not used to anyone doing things for me, she admitted. Then perhaps that is one of the things that will change, Aisha replied. While they waited, Aisha pointed to a charging spot near the wall. You can plug in your phone there, she said. Call someone if you wish. Lena nodded and went to charge her phone. She stared at the screen for a moment. She could call Rashid. She could beg him to come back. A part of her, still scared and used to his control, wanted to. But another part of her felt tired of begging. Instead, she simply let the phone charge and went back to the table. The hot chocolate arrived, steaming and rich. A small plate of warm pastries sat between them. Eat, Aisha said gently. You will think more clearly with something in your stomach. Lena realized she hadn't eaten since early afternoon. The first sip of hot chocolate felt like it went straight to her heart. The warmth spread through her body, and for the first time since the car door had slammed, she felt a hint of comfort. They ate in quiet for a few minutes. Then Aisha wiped her mouth with a napkin and folded her hands on the table. Tell me about your life, Lena, she said. Not about your husband. About you. The question surprised Lena. Most people, when they heard about the argument, would ask, what did he do? Or what happened? But Aisha wanted to know about her. Lena thought for a moment. I used to like drawing, she said slowly. I wanted to study design when I was younger. But we got married early. Then there were bills and work and life. Do you still draw? Aisha asked. No, Lena said quietly. He said it was a waste of time. Aisha's eyes darkened for a second, but her voice stayed calm. People often call something a waste of time when they are afraid of how bright it might shine, she murmured. Lena had never thought about it like that. She felt something inside her shift just a little. When they finished eating, Aisha looked at her watch again, and then back at Lena. Lena, she said softly, I have a question for you. And it may sound strange. Lena straightened up, curious and nervous at the same time. Okay. If you did not have to go back to that car, Aisha asked slowly, if you had another option tonight, would you take it? Lena's heart began to beat faster. What do you mean? She whispered. Aisha stood up, reached for her walking stick, and gave Lena a steady look. Come, she said. I want to show you something outside. Lena followed her out of the cafe. When they stepped back onto the street, she saw a dark, shiny car parked by the curb. A driver in a neat suit stood beside it, waiting. He quickly came forward and opened the back door as soon as he saw Aisha. Lena stopped in her tracks. Staring at the car, then at the driver, then at Aisha. In that moment, she realized this stranger was not just a kind old woman from a bus stop. Her life had just crossed paths with someone very, very different from what she expected, and whatever came next, it would not be simple. Lena stood on the sidewalk, staring at the elegant car and the driver in a neat suit. For a second, she wondered if she was dreaming. "This is your car?" Lena asked quietly. Aisha gave a small smile. "Yes," she said. "He has been waiting for me. I was on my way home when I saw you at the bus stop." The driver nodded politely at Lena, then turned to Aisha. "Everything all right, madam?" he asked. "Yes, thank you," Aisha replied. "This is Lena. She will be coming with us." Lena's heart jumped. "Coming with you?" she repeated. "To your home?" Aisha looked straight into her eyes. "I told you," she said gently. "I will not leave you alone tonight. You have a choice, Lena. You can come with me, rest and think. I won't force you. But the door is open." The driver still held the back door, waiting. Lena looked down the road again, in the direction where her husband had disappeared. There was nothing there now. No car, no sign of him coming back. Just dark road and moving lights. She thought of going back home alone, knocking on the door, and seeing his angry face again. She could already hear his voice in her head, blaming her for everything. Then she looked at Aisha. This woman's eyes were calm and kind. There was no judgment in them, only concern. Lena took a deep breath. "Okay," she said softly. "I'll come." Aisha's smile widened, gentle and warm. "Good," she said. "Let's go then." The driver helped Aisha into the car first. Lena followed, sitting carefully on the other side of the back seat. The door closed with a soft sound and the car started moving. Inside, it was quiet and comfortable. The seats were soft leather. The city lights passed by slowly outside the windows, like small stars. Lena sat with her hands on her lap, still feeling out of place. "I don't want to be a burden," she said after a moment. "If you were a burden," Aisha replied calmly, "I would not have invited you." Lena let out a small, nervous laugh. "I guess that's true." They drove for a while in silence. Then Lena asked, "So, what do you do?" "I mean, for work?" Aisha looked out the window thinking. "I own a few small businesses," she answered. "Shops, a company here and there. I started with nothing many years ago. It took a long time, but life has been kind to me in the end." Lena's eyes widened. "You own businesses?" she repeated. "That's amazing." "It is tiring," Aisha said, but there was pride in her voice. "But it also means I can help when I feel I should." "Like tonight." Lena looked down. "I don't know why you chose me," she murmured. "Because your eyes looked like mine once did," Aisha said quietly. "Afraid, but not broken." "Not yet." Lena wanted to ask what had happened in Aisha's past, but she stayed quiet. It felt too personal, and they had only just met. After some time, the car turned into a quieter street lined with trees and large houses. Finally, it stopped in front of a wide gate. The gate opened slowly as they approached. Lena's mouth fell slightly open. Behind the gate was a beautiful house with soft lights glowing in the windows. It was big, but not cold-looking. The garden was neat, with flowers and small trees. It looked like something from a picture. "Welcome to my home," Aisha said as the car stopped. The driver got out and opened the door. Lena stepped onto the driveway, still amazed. She had never been in a place like this. "You live here alone?" Lena asked. "Mostly," Aisha replied. "I have a housekeeper who comes during the day. Sometimes my nephew visits, but his work keeps him busy." They walked up the steps together. Aisha moved slowly and Lena stayed close, ready to offer her arm again. Inside, the house smelled faintly of jasmine and clean wood. The floor shone softly under their feet. In the hall, a woman in her 50s came forward with a friendly smile. "Good evening, madam," she said to Aisha. Then she looked at Lena with curiosity. "This is Lena," Aisha explained. "She is our guest for tonight, maybe longer. Please prepare the blue guest room for her." "Of course," the housekeeper said at once. "Welcome, dear." Lena murmured a shy, "Thank you." The housekeeper disappeared down the hallway to get the room ready. Aisha turned back to Lena. Come, she said. Sit with me in the living room for a few minutes before you rest. They walked into a large but cozy room with shelves of books, soft chairs, and a big window looking out at the garden. A lamp in the corner gave the room a warm yellow light. Please sit, Aisha said, lowering herself into an armchair. Lena sat opposite her on the edge of a sofa, still unsure what to do with her hands, where to look, how to act in such a place. Aisha watched her for a long moment. You look like someone who is waiting to be told what to do, she said kindly. Lena let out a small, sad smile. Maybe I am, she admitted. I've spent years waiting for my husband's moods to change, for him to decide if I can go somewhere or do something. Aisha nodded slowly. And what do you want to do now, Lena? She asked. Not what he wants, you! The question felt huge. Lena almost didn't know how to answer. She had stopped thinking about what she wanted a long time ago. I don't know, she said honestly. Right now I just don't want to be shouted at. That is a good start, Aisha replied. Peace is not a small wish. She leaned back in her chair and sighed softly. I will not tell you what to do with your marriage, she said. That is your path, but I can give you something your husband did not give you tonight. What's that? Lena asked. Time and safety, Aisha said. Time to think. A safe place where no one will throw you out or scare you. You will stay here tonight. If you wish, you can stay a few more days. You can call your family, maybe a friend. You can rest, and you can decide what you want for your life. Lena felt tears in her eyes again, but these were different. They were not from fear this time, but from relief. Why are you so kind to me? She whispered. Aisha's eyes softened. She looked at Lena the way a grandmother might look at a granddaughter. Because someone should have been kind to me when I was your age, she said, but no one was. I had to learn everything alone. I do not want you to have the same road if I can help it. Just then, the housekeeper returned. The room is ready, she said. Fresh sheets and towels. Thank you, Aisha said, then turned to Lena. Go rest, dear. Take a shower if you like. There are clothes in the wardrobe you can borrow for tonight. Tomorrow morning we will talk again. No decisions tonight. Only sleep. Lena stood up slowly. Her body felt heavy, but her heart felt a little lighter. Thank you, she said again, but the words felt too small for what she wanted to say. Aisha smiled. You can thank me by taking care of yourself, she replied. The housekeeper led Lena down the hallway to a beautiful guest room with a soft bed and a window looking over the garden. Everything was calm and quiet. Lena closed the door behind her and leaned against it for a moment, letting out a long breath. She felt like she had entered a different world. She walked to the bed and sat down, running her hand over the smooth blanket. Tears gathered in her eyes once more, but this time they were mixed with something new, hope. She looked around the room, at the wardrobe, the small lamp, the flowers in a vase on the table. This was not her home, but it felt safer than her own house had in a long time. Lena lay down, staring at the ceiling. A stranger had picked her up from a bus stop. A stranger had brought her into a warm house. A stranger had given her what her own husband never did that night, protection and respect. As her eyes slowly closed, Lena did not know what tomorrow would bring. She did not know if she would go back to Rashid or choose another path. But for the first time in years, she began to wonder, what if my life could be different? With that thought in her mind, she finally fell into a deep, peaceful sleep, not knowing that Aisha already had a quiet plan forming in her heart for the young woman who had arrived at her gate by accident. Lena woke up to the sound of birds. For a moment, she didn't remember where she was. The bed felt too soft. The room was too quiet. There was no loud voice, no heavy footsteps in the hallway, no tension in the air. Then she saw the vase of flowers on the table and the soft curtains at the window, and it all came back. Aisha, the cafe, the car, the house. Lena lay still for a few seconds, staring at the ceiling. The memory of her husband's words came back like a cold wave. Do whatever you want. Her chest tightened. But then she remembered something else, too. Aisha's calm voice in the car. I will give you time and safety. Lena sat up slowly. The morning light coming through the window was soft and warm. She checked the small clock on the bedside table. It was past 8. Her phone was beside the lamp, fully charged now. Her heart beat faster as she reached for it. Part of her wanted to know if he had called. Another part of her was scared to see his name on the screen. She took a breath, unlocked the phone, and looked. No missed calls. No messages. Nothing. It hurt more than she expected. He really doesn't care where I am, she thought sadly. Not even one message. Lena put the phone back down and rubbed her eyes. She got up, found a clean towel neatly folded on the chair, and went into the bathroom. The warm shower felt like a small miracle. She washed away the smell of the previous night, the car, the street, the fear. When she looked at herself in the mirror afterward, her eyes were still a little red, but she looked more like herself again, not just a scared woman on a bench. In the wardrobe, she found a simple, clean dress in her size. It surprised her. It was almost as if Aisha had known someone might need it one day. Lena changed and felt shy but grateful. When she stepped out into the hallway, she could smell food. Someone was cooking. Lena followed the smell to the kitchen. There she found the housekeeper at the stove, flipping something in a pan. Aisha sat at the table with a cup of tea in her hand. "Good morning," Aisha said, smiling. "You slept well, I hope?" "Yes," Lena answered. "Thank you, I haven't slept that deeply in a long time." "That is what a safe roof does," Aisha said softly. The housekeeper placed a plate of warm bread and eggs on the table. "Sit, dear," she said. "Eat." Lena sat down slowly. She felt a little awkward, like she didn't deserve all this kindness. But her stomach reminded her she was hungry. They ate quietly for a few minutes. The house felt calm, like a different world. After a while, Aisha put down her cup and looked at Lena with serious, gentle eyes. "So," she said, "we have given your body rest. Now we must think about your life." Lena's fork paused halfway to her mouth. "I don't even know where to start," she admitted. "Everything feels heavy." "Start with the simplest question," Aisha said. "Do you want to go back today?" Lena's heart jumped. She had been pushing that question away in her mind since she woke up. I don't know," she said honestly. "If I go back, he'll be angry. He will say this is all my fault. He will maybe shout, maybe ignore me for days, and I will feel small again." "And if you don't go back?" Aisha asked quietly. Lena looked down at her hands. "I don't know how to live without him," she whispered. "He controls the money, the house, everything. I don't have a job. I don't have savings. I don't even know where I would go." Aisha listened carefully. "You said last night that you used to draw," she said. "You wanted to study design?" Lena nodded. "Yes, but that was a long time ago." "Your hands are still here," Aisha replied. "Your mind is still here. Time does not steal talent. It only covers it with dust." Lena gave a small, sad smile. "Even if I could draw, who would pay me for that?" "That sounds like a dream, not real life." Aisha's eyes softened. "Sometimes real life begins when dreams are no longer locked away," she said. The housekeeper quietly left the kitchen, giving them space. Aisha reached into the pocket of her cardigan and pulled out a small keyring. She turned it in her hand as she spoke. "I want to tell you something about my life," she said, "because you are not the first woman I have seen at a bus stop with tears in her eyes." Lena watched her. "Waiting. Many years ago," Aisha began, "I was married to a man who believed my only job was to stay quiet and obey. He did not throw me out of a car, but he threw me out of myself. Little by little, I stopped being me. I was just his wife." Lena felt a sharp pain in her chest. She understood that feeling too well. "One day," Aisha went on, "after a big argument, he told me I was worthless. He said without him, I would be nothing. That night, I looked in the mirror and did not recognize my own eyes. They looked dead." Her voice was calm, but Lena could hear the old hurt inside it. "What did you do?" Lena asked quietly. "I left," Aisha said simply, "with one small bag and some money I had hidden. I went to stay with a distant relative. It was very hard. I was scared every day, but I learned to work. I started cleaning offices. Then I learned to manage a small shop. Slowly I saved. Slowly I grew, and I promised myself that if I ever had more than I needed, I would build a place where women like me, like you, could stand up again. Lena stared at her, amazed. You built all this? After leaving him? Yes, Aisha said. Not all at once. Brick by brick, day by day, tear by tear. She leaned forward a little. Lena, she said softly, I cannot decide for you, but I can offer you something. Lena's breath caught in her throat. Offer me what? A starting point, Aisha replied. A job, a place to stay for some time. A chance to learn how to stand on your own feet. No promises of magic, only honest work and safety. Lena's eyes filled with tears. A job? She repeated, hardly believing it. Doing what? Aisha smiled. Come, I'll show you after breakfast. They finished eating, and Lena helped the housekeeper clear the table. It felt strange, but good to do something normal with her hands. Later, Aisha took her outside to the driveway again. The car was still there waiting. We are not going far, Aisha said as the driver opened the door. One of my smaller places. They drove through the city until they reached a quieter street with a row of little shops. The car stopped in front of a simple sign that read, Hand and Heart Designs. The windows showed bags, scarves, small paintings, and handmade items arranged with care. What is this place? Lena asked. One of my shops, Aisha said. We sell handmade things, some from local artists, some from women who needed a second chance. We also design simple patterns and logos for small businesses. Nothing fancy, but honest work. They went inside. A young woman at the counter greeted Aisha with a smile and called her Madam. There were shelves full of colorful products and a small work table in the corner with sketchbooks and fabric samples. This is where many new beginnings started. Aisha said quietly. Lena walked slowly around the shop, touching a bag here, a scarf there. Everything looked made with care, with love. It's beautiful, she said. Aisha watched her closely. I need someone to help here, she explained. The manager is taking maternity leave soon. We need new ideas, fresh eyes. Someone who can sketch, help with simple designs, talk to customers, learn how the business works. Lena's heart beat faster. You think I could do that? She asked, surprised. I think you could learn, Aisha replied, if you are willing. I do not offer charity, Lena. I offer opportunity. You will work and you will be paid. You will also learn skills that can stay with you forever, even if you one day open your own place. The idea felt huge, almost too big. Lena imagined herself standing behind the counter, drawing patterns, helping customers, wearing something other than fear on her face. She also imagined her husband's reaction if he found out. He would be furious. He would say she was ungrateful, disloyal, stupid. Her stomach twisted. Aisha seemed to read the worry on her face. You do not need to answer now, she said gently. You can stay in my house for a short time, think, try a few days here, see how it feels. Then decide. Lena took a deep breath. What if my husband calls? She asked quietly. What if he comes to find me? Aisha's eyes turned firm. If he calls, you may choose to answer or not, she said. If he comes to the house, he will not enter without your permission. I will make that very clear. You are not a lost bag he can pick up whenever he wants. You are a person. Lena felt something rise in her chest. Fear and courage mixed together. She walked over to the work table and gently picked up a pencil that lay there. There was a blank page open in a sketchbook. Her hand trembled as she lowered the pencil to the paper. Then slowly, carefully, she began to draw. Simple shapes at first. A flower, a small pattern. Nothing perfect, but real. Aisha watched her with quiet satisfaction. The first line, Aisha said softly, is always the hardest. After that, the picture starts to appear. Lena looked at the small drawing forming under her fingers. She didn't know what her future would be yet. She didn't know if she was strong enough to leave the life she had known, but for the first time, she felt like maybe, just maybe, she had a choice. The next few days passed in a way Lena never expected. Each morning, she woke up in the blue guest room to soft light and birdsong instead of shouting or cold silence. She would dress, have breakfast with Aisha in the warm kitchen, and then ride with the driver to the little shop, Hand and Heart Designs. At first, she felt nervous every minute. She worried she would break something, say the wrong thing, upset a customer. But slowly, quietly, she began to move more easily. On her second day, the young woman at the counter, whose name was Hana, handed Lena a sketchbook. "Madam Aisha says you draw," Hana said with a friendly smile. "Can you try some new patterns for these bags? Customers like fresh things." Lena's heart beat faster. "I can try," she said. She sat at the small work table in the corner, pencil in hand. At first, her fingers felt stiff, like they had forgotten how to be free. But the more she moved the pencil, the more natural it felt. Lines became leaves. Leaves became flowers. Simple shapes turned into soft patterns that seemed to move across the page. Hana walked over and looked at the drawings. "These are beautiful," she said honestly. "You're very talented." Lena felt her cheeks warm. "Thank you," she replied, surprised by how much those simple words meant to her. Later that day, Aisha came into the shop. She moved slowly, leaning on her walking stick, but her eyes were bright. "How are we doing?" she asked. "Look at this, madam," Hana said, holding up the sketchbook. Lena made new designs. Aisha took her time looking at each page. She nodded once, twice, then gave Lena a warm smile. "These would look lovely on our bags," she said. "We will try them," Lena blinked. "You really think they're good enough?" she asked. "I know they are," Aisha replied. "And soon, our customers will tell you the same." For the first time in a very long time, Lena felt something grow inside her that she had almost forgotten existed. Pride. During a short break that afternoon, Lena finally gathered the courage to do something she had been avoiding. She stepped outside the shop, took her phone from her bag, and called her parents. Her mother answered after 2 rings. "Lena, is that you?" "Yes, Mama, it's me," Lena said, already feeling her throat tighten. "Where have you been?" her mother asked, worry in her voice. "We tried calling you before, but your phone was off." Lena's eyes filled with tears. "I'm safe," she said quickly. "Don't worry. I'm with someone kind, a woman named Aisha. She helped me when Rashid left me on the street." There was a shocked silence on the other side of the line. "He did what?" her mother finally whispered. Lena took a deep breath and told her the story about the car, the bus stop, the cafe, the house, the job offer. She was careful not to speak with hate, but she did not hide the truth. "I didn't want to worry you, Mama," Lena said at the end. "But I also didn't want to lie." Her mother's voice trembled. "My child, you should have called sooner. Are you sure you are safe? This woman, Aisha, can we trust her?" "Yes," Lena said softly but firmly. "She has done nothing but help me. She gave me a place to sleep. She feeds me. She offers me work. And she respects me, Mama. She actually listens when I speak." Her mother was quiet for a long moment. "Do you want to go back to your husband?" she asked gently. "I don't know yet," Lena replied honestly. "I need time to think. I don't want to make a choice out of fear." Her mother sighed softly. "Then take your time," she said. "You are our daughter before you are anyone's wife. If you need to come home, you can. It won't be easy, but we will find a way." Lena wiped her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. "That means a lot." After the call, she felt both lighter and heavier at the same time. Lighter because she was not hiding anymore. Heavier because her next choice would matter so much. That evening, back at Aisha's house, Lena's phone finally lit up with the name she had been half waiting for and half dreading, Rashid. Her stomach twisted. Her thumb hovered over the screen. Aisha noticed her tense body as they sat in the living room. "He's calling, isn't he?" Aisha asked quietly. Lena nodded. "Yes. Will you answer?" Aisha asked. There was no pressure in her voice, only a question. Lena took a deep breath. "I think I have to," she said. "Running away from the call will not fix anything." She stood up and walked a little away, though Aisha stayed within sight. Like a quiet anchor in the room, Lena hit accept. "Hello," she said. For a second, there was only breathing on the other side. Then Rashid's voice came, sharp and angry. "Where are you?" he demanded. Do you realize what you've done? Do you know how it looks that my wife just disappears? Lena swallowed. You left me on the road, she said calmly. You told me to get out and do whatever I want, so I did. I made sure I was safe. You're being dramatic, he snapped. I was angry. You know how I get. You should have waited. You should have called me. Instead, what? You go off with strangers? She's not just a stranger, Lena replied, trying to keep her voice steady. She helped me when no one else did. She gave me a place to stay and food and respect. There was a short, bitter laugh. Respect? What about respecting your husband? You made me look like a fool. People will start asking where you are. Do you want everyone to think I mistreat you? Lena closed her eyes for a moment. Old habits made her want to apologize, to shrink herself, to say, I'm sorry, you're right. But she remembered Aisha's words. You are not a bag he can pick up whenever he wants. You are a person? I'm not trying to shame you, Lena said slowly. I just couldn't stay in that car. I couldn't sit and wait to see if you would come back or not. I was scared. I was tired. I needed to feel safe. So what now? Rashid said. You plan to stay there forever? With some old woman you just met? I don't know about forever, Lena said. But for now, I'm not coming back. Not yet. I need time. I need to think about what I want. I need to work. I need to feel like a person, not just someone who waits to be thrown out when you're angry. The silence on the line felt heavy. You're my wife, he finally said, his voice lower now but still cold. You can't just decide these things alone. I didn't decide to be left on the street alone either, she answered quietly. But that's what happened. He sighed loudly. Fine, he said. Do whatever you want, but don't expect me to be waiting when you crawl back. The words hurt, but they did not break her this time. I'm not crawling, Lena said softly. Goodbye, Rashid. Before she could lose her courage, she ended the call. Her hands were shaking. Her heart was pounding so hard, she could feel it in her throat. She stood still for a moment, breathing deeply. Aisha's voice came calmly from behind her. That sounded hard, she said. Lena turned around. It was, she admitted. But I didn't shout. I didn't beg. I just said what I needed to say. Aisha nodded with quiet pride. You stood on your own legs, she said. They may be shaking, but they are yours. Lena let out a small, shaky laugh. Yes, she said. They're shaking a lot. Shaking is allowed, Aisha replied. Falling back is not. Later that week, Aisha took Lena to the back of the shop where a small group of women sat around a table. They were different ages, wearing different clothes, but they all shared one thing in their eyes, a tiredness mixed with strength. This is Lena, Aisha told them. She is new to us. Be kind. They smiled and welcomed her. As they worked on sewing, painting, or packing orders, some of them shared pieces of their stories. One had left a loud, cruel husband. Another had escaped from a family that never let her study. Another had simply grown tired of being told she was nothing. Lena listened in silence, feeling her heart swell. She was not alone. At the end of the day, when the others had gone, Aisha pulled out a thin folder and placed it on the work table in front of Lena. What's this? Lena asked. A simple contract, Aisha said. Part-time at first, then full-time if you wish. Your pay, your hours, your rights. If you sign it, you are no longer just a guest helping in the shop. You will be a worker here, with your own income, your own path opening in front of you. Lena stared at the paper. She could see her name typed at the top. It felt unreal. You don't have to sign tonight, Aisha added gently. Take it with you. Read it. Think. This is your life, Lena. No one will push you. Not me, not him. You choose. That night, in the blue guest room, Lena sat at the small desk with the contract in front of her. Her phone lay beside it, silent. She thought about her old life, the fear, the careful words, the waiting. She thought about the shop, the colors, the drawings, the smiles of customers who had already praised one of her designs without knowing it was hers. Her hands trembled as she picked up the pen. She did not know what would happen tomorrow. She did not know if her marriage would survive this, or if it even should. But she knew one thing for sure. She never wanted to sit on a cold bench waiting for a car door to open, ever again. With a deep breath, Lena slowly, firmly signed her name. Her new life had not fully begun yet, but the first real step had just been taken. Weeks passed, and slowly, Lena's life began to feel like it belonged to her. Every morning, she woke up in the blue guest room, opened the curtains, and looked out at the garden. The fear in her heart did not disappear all at once, but it grew smaller, like a shadow that might someday fade. She worked at Hand and Heart Designs almost every day now. Her name was on the staff list. Her designs were on real products, bags, notebooks, small scarves. When customers picked them up and smiled, Lena felt a quiet joy she had never felt before. One afternoon, Hannah rushed over to her, eyes bright. "Lena, look," she said, holding up a bag with one of Lena's patterns. "A customer just bought 3 of these." She said she loved the design. "She didn't even ask for a discount," Lena laughed, surprised. "Really?" "Yes," Hannah said. "You should have seen her. She said it looked special." "That's your work," Lena touched the bag gently, like it was something fragile and precious. "I never thought my drawings could be worth money," she said softly. "Your drawings are worth more than you think," came Aisha's calm voice from behind them. They turned and saw her standing by the door, stick in hand, eyes shining with pride. "Your drawings are proof that you are still here," Aisha said. "That your heart did not disappear even when life tried to make you small." Lena smiled. "Thank you," she said, "for giving me a chance." Aisha shrugged gently. "You took it," she replied. "I only opened a door. You walked through it." One evening, as Lena was closing the shop, her phone buzzed. She almost ignored it, but then she saw the name, Rashid. She had not spoken to him in weeks. He had sent a few short messages before, angry at first, then cold, then silent again. She had answered only once, saying she needed space. After that, she focused on work, on healing, on learning how to breathe without waiting for his mood. Now he was calling. Her hands felt cold, but she answered. "Hello," she said. His voice this time was not sharp. It was tired. "Lena," he said. "We need to talk," she breathed slowly. "About what?" she asked. "About us," he replied. "About you coming home." The word home felt strange in her ears now. Did that place still feel like home? "I'm working," she said quietly. "I have a job now. I have responsibilities here," he sighed. "So you plan to stay with that woman forever?" he asked. "People are talking, you know." "They ask where you are." "It makes me look bad." Lena's eyes filled with a soft sadness, but not fear. She had heard this many times. How things made him look, how things made him feel. What about how it made me feel, she thought, when I stood alone on that road. Aloud, she said, "If you want to talk, meet me somewhere public. Not at the house, not here. Somewhere open." He hesitated. "Fine," he said at last. "Tomorrow evening. The cafe near the bus station. The same cafe where she had first sat with Aisha." "All right," Lena said. "I'll be there." The next evening, Lena stood in front of the cafe where her story had changed. She wore one of the simple dresses from Aisha's wardrobe and a scarf with her own design printed on it. Her hands were still a little shaky, but her back was straight. Inside, she saw him sitting at a table near the window, looking out. He looked tired, older somehow. When she walked in, he stood up. "You look different," he said, surprised. "I feel different," she replied calmly. They sat down. For a moment, they just looked at each other, both unsure how to start. Finally, he spoke. "I was angry that day," he said. "I said things I didn't mean. I shouldn't have left you there. I know that." Lena watched his face carefully. "Then why didn't you call me that night?" she asked softly. "Or the next morning?" He looked away. I thought you would call me," he admitted. "Like you always do. Say sorry. Try to make peace." She nodded slowly. "Yes," she said. "That's what I always did." He rubbed his forehead. "I don't like that you went with a stranger," he said. That woman has a name," Lena said gently but firmly. "Aisha, she gave me food. She gave me a bed. She gave me a job. She gave me respect. You left me on the road, remember?" He flinched a little at her words. "I know," he said. "I was wrong, but you are my wife. People expect—" Lena raised her hand a little. "I know what people expect," she said. "Smile in public, be silent at home. Accept anything as long as there is a roof and food. But I learned something these last weeks." "What?" he asked. "That a roof is not enough if you are not safe under it," she said quietly. "Food is not enough if you have to swallow your own voice every day. Being a wife should not mean being afraid." He stared at her, not used to hearing her speak this way. "So what do you want?" he asked at last, almost helpless. "Do you want a divorce?" "Is that it? You want to leave me?" The words stood between them like a wall. Lena took a slow breath. "I don't know yet," she said honestly. "I won't make that decision in one meeting. But I know this. I will not come back to live with you right now. Not until I see real change. Not just in your words, but in how you treat me, in how you control everything, in how you get angry and make it my job to fix it." His jaw tightened. "So you're giving me conditions?" he asked. "I'm giving myself protection," she replied. "I have a job now. I can support myself a little. I have a safe place to stay. I don't need to come back just to survive. If I return, it will be because I feel respected, not because I am scared to be alone." He looked at her for a long time, searching her face for weakness, for the old fear. This time he didn't find it. "So that's it," he said softly. "You've changed." "Yes," Lena said, meeting his eyes. "I have." There was a strange silence between them then, not full of anger, but of truth. He leaned back in his chair, tired. "I don't know if I can be the man you want," he admitted. "I've been this way a long time." Lena felt a little sting of sadness. "You don't have to be the man I want," she said. "You just have to be the man who does not throw his wife out of the car." They both gave a small, sad smile at the same time. For a brief second, they were two people who understood the damage done. "I will think," he said. "I can't promise I'll become perfect, but I will think." "That's all I can ask," Lena replied. "And I will think, too. About what kind of life I want, with you or without you." They stood up. There were no hugs, no promises, just a quiet, honest distance. "Goodbye for now," she said. "For now," he echoed. Lena walked out of the cafe and into the evening air. Her legs were shaking again, but she was still standing. Outside, a familiar car waited. The driver gave her a little nod and opened the door. Inside, Aisha sat, watching her with kind eyes. "How did it go?" Aisha asked. Lena let out a long breath. "Hard," she said. "But I didn't beg. I didn't apologize for existing. I just told the truth." Aisha smiled softly. "Then you did well," she said. "Very well." As the car started moving, Lena looked out at the road. The same kind of road where she had once been left alone with no money, no plan, and no hope. Now she was not alone. She had work. She had choices. She had a voice. "My husband threw me out of the car with no money," Lena thought, and said, "Do whatever you want." She looked at Aisha, the stranger who had sat beside her on a cold bench and turned into something much more. "Because of you," Lena said quietly, "I'm finally learning what I really want." Aisha reached out and gently squeezed her hand. "No, my dear," she replied. "Because of you. You were brave enough to say yes when life offered you another chance." The lights of the city passed by outside as they drove, toward Aisha's house, a place that had become more like home than Lena had ever expected. Her story was not finished. There would be more hard days, more choices, more tears. But now, for the first time, she was not just a passenger in someone else's car. She was the one deciding where her life would go. And that was how a stranger woman truly changed her life.